Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards here with episode 8 of my Shop Your Crafty Stash series. I've really been enjoying this series. It's really kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone a bit, made me use some products that I had kind of forgotten about. And today is the perfect example of that because I am using this cute Sunny Studios Home Sweet Gnome stamp set. And then this long forgotten die, which is the MFT Stitched Triple Peekaboo Window and Edges die. That's a bit of a mouthful. But yeah, this one has been languishing in my stash for quite some time, unused. And these stamps I haven't pulled out for a while, so I was really pleased to have them out. So I went ahead and coloured and cut out my images, and I've gone ahead and cut this piece of white cardstock with the die. This is just Lawn Fawn 80 pound cardstock, and then I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock which measures even 5.5 by about 4.5. I'm going to trim off some of that edge later on. But I'm going in onto that Bristol smooth cardstock with this Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide ink. I'm not being overly careful about it. I just want to make sure that it's going to be seen through those peekaboo windows. And once I feel that I've got enough on there, I'm going to go ahead and attach down this piece that I die cut out on top of that with some foam tape. So it's going to go onto the left hand side there. And then that bit where you can see the ink, don't worry about that. I'm going to be covering that up with some pattern paper. So once that's attached down, I went through my pattern paper stash and I found this lovely one from Sunny Studios, which is the amazing Argyle. And I'm using this green Argyle pattern here. Now, when I cut it, I didn't cut it straight. But I thought, well, I'll stick it down and I'll see what it looks like. And if it's really bad, I can always recover it or pull it up and stick something else down. But in the end, once I'd kind of trimmed it all down, I didn't think it was too bad, so I went with it. But yeah, if it triggers you, I'm sorry. It's a little bit crooked. So I just stuck it down with some liquid glue flat onto that panel, and I'm just using my scissors to trim it around the edge. Goodness, I'm really struggling to speak today. So I'm just using my scissors to trim the edges off there. And then I will need to trim this whole card panel down a little bit. It's about 1/2 inch too wide. So once I've kind of got this stuck down nicely and I'm happy with the fact that it's slightly crooked, I will go ahead and trim it off. I'm just figuring out where all of my little guys are going to go before I do that. So I have these 3 little windows and I've chosen some of the smaller images from the stamp set to go inside these images and inside these windows, and so I've got that little gnome who's sitting down, chilling out. He's kind of lots of fun. He's really, really cute. Then I have the 2 different mushrooms and the little caterpillar worm. Not sure what he is, but I've coloured him like a caterpillar. And the 2 birds there. And then I've also coloured in a couple of the little daisies just to kind of fill in some space. Now I am attaching my images flat onto the kind of ink blended piece that I've done in the back there. There are a couple that I'm popping on the outside, so you'll see that here in a second. But I just think these images are really, really cute, and it was kind of fun using not necessarily the main images from the set. There are tons and tons of images in the stamp set. For such a, like it's a regular sized stamp set. It's not a big one. But there are tons of images in it, and it was kind of fun looking at all the little images and figuring out how I could use them instead of the kind of bigger main ones. So I'm just finishing off here with this little bird who's going to be sat actually on the outside, and then my 2 little daisies. So I've popped one in that bottom circle, and I was just trying to figure out where I was going to put this other one. I decided to tuck it in there in that top circle with the little caterpillar. And that's it. My images are done. So off screen, I went ahead and trimmed my panel down to the correct size. So it's 5.5 by 4.25. And then I took this piece of scrap Bristol smooth cardstock and just used some more of that Uncharted Mariner ink on there. And this is where I'm going to put my sentiment so that all the colours kind of tie in together. Now the stamp set has this cute little sentiment which says, "What's up, Gnome?" I thought it was kind of fun. I think my boys will probably get kind of a kick out of that sentiment and probably find it quite funny. So I am using some anti-static powder tool here to go all over that ink, and my Versamark ink, which I'm going to use to stamp out my sentiment. So just not too worried about the positioning there because I'm going to be trimming this down. And then I'm going to pull out my white heat embossing powder, sprinkle it all over that sentiment. I'm not too worried about those bits that you can see catching on the edge of my ink there because, as I say, I'm trimming this down anyway. I'm going to heat this up and get that sentiment nice and shiny and bright and pull out my paper trimmer and trim it down. So I'm just making this kind of like little thin strip of sentiment. In the end, I ended up cutting it in two as well, and you'll see that here soon. I decided that I wanted to stack my sentiment rather than have it as one long line, but it would work either way. I just felt it was a little bit too long for the space that I had, and cutting it apart was the easiest thing to do. So I have my sentiment. I'm going to pull my card base back out here. It's been trimmed down to the correct size. And you can see I was kind of figuring out, and then I decided, yeah, I'm going to trim it. So I've got What's Up on one part and then Gnome on the other part. And I'm just going to stagger them on there like that so it kind of fits in nicely. And then I thought, well, maybe I should do them at an angle. And then in the end, I decided just to do it straight. I couldn't really decide what to do today. But I just popped them on there straight, and I just attached them straight down with some liquid glue. And sorry, I do keep bumping my camera all the time. I don't know why. It's because I'm clumsy. I bump into everything. So yeah, just centering those down. And once that's attached, that is pretty much my card base complete. And I was really pleased with this one today because it's a little bit more masculine, which is kind of out of my comfort zone as well. I tend to make more feminine cards. So it was kind of fun to make something a bit different. So here I have a piece of Lawn Fawn 110 pound cardstock, which I've cut into a card base of 5.5 by 4.25. I stamped that little gnome on the inside as well. I haven't done any other sentiments in there, just that little gnome. And now I'm just attaching that panel down on with some liquid glue and trying to make sure it's all nice and centered up. And that is it. My little card is complete. Really happy with how this one turned out today. It was a lot of fun using some products that I hadn't used for a while. And that's what this series is all about. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back. Thanks for watching.